Shots fired, multiple officers have been hit. I got 2 officers down, shot, still inside.
Right now on WUSA9 News at 5, a DC community on edge.
During time kids going to school, maybe one of the kids got shot.
It's happening around here so much, man.
3 D.C. police officers were shot while trying to serve an arrest warrant.
Pretty serious injuries, but non-life-threatening, thankfully. I mean, I'm sure they'll have some recovery time, but likely be on the street sooner than later.
At this hour, D.C. police are still working to arrest the shooter.
At this time, the individual remains barricaded inside the residence. This remains an active situation, and the individual has continued to fire from that location.
We have team coverage on every angle of this story. The News at 5 begins right now. And we begin with 2 big breaking stories. Here at home, a gunman remains barricaded inside a home in Southeast D.C. Police tell us he shot 3 officers who were attempting to serve an arrest warrant this morning.
And also breaking as we come on the air tonight, shots fired at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl celebration. Police say 1 person is dead, at least 10 more are injured, and at least 2 armed people have been detained. We're going to have more on that coming up in about 7 minutes, but we have to begin with that ongoing shooting and standoff in Southeast D.C. Thank you for being here with us on this busy Wednesday night. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
I'm Leslie Foster, and we're expecting an update from police in about an hour, but tonight we've got live team coverage of a pretty scary day for our neighbors there. Our Leslie Moreno is live at MedStar Washington Hospital, where those 3 officers are recovering.
Yeah, but let's start with our Delia Gonzalez. She is live in Southeast near that home where the man is still barricaded inside. Dee, what's happening right now?
So we are about 4 blocks away from that home in question here on 46th and Benning. This is as far as police have really allowed us to be. This considered the safe zone because, as we have been reporting all day long here on WUSA9, this has been a very active scene with the gentleman, the subject inside that home, still shooting at officers. And as you mentioned, Leslie, a certainly scary situation for many of the children who were inside the elementary schools, even this K through 8 school, a KIPP DC charter school. Talked to many of those parents who were picking up their kids. They had a 2 p.m. early dismissal. We understand the school was on secure lockdown throughout the day. We saw so many scenes unfolding outside that school. At one point, an ambulance pulled up to the school and a child was removed on a stretcher. We saw a delivery man delivering a Valentine's pizza to the school. So you can imagine the kind of tension that they were working with on the inside. But let's talk about what happened here. We know that this started at 7:30 this morning when police officers were assisting folks from the Animal Humane Alliance trying to serve that warrant, issue that warrant for an arrest in regards to animal cruelty, when all of a sudden we're hearing from witnesses that there were shots fired. We know 3 officers were shot. A 4th officer was hurt. Chief Smith was here some time ago. She said she actually visited all of them at the hospital and they're in good spirits. But we want to toss to Chief Smith, who had a bit more to say about this unfolding situation here. Let's listen in.
At this time, the individual remains barricaded inside the residence. This remains an active situation, and the individual has continued to fire from that location. We are asking everyone to please stay out of this location until we are able to apprehend the suspect.
Back here live on Benning Road, you can see all that police tape that's cordoned off in the area. There are major roadblocks in this area as police are trying to keep folks as far away as possible. Again, they are still in communication with this man. I'm told by the chief they have not made visual contact with him since very early this morning when they tried serving that warrant. However, they have been in constant communication with him by the phone. At one point during a news conference a little later, she said, you know, he's up and down. I asked her, what do you mean by that? She said, there are times when he's communicating with us. There are other times when he gets very agitated. And so this has been a very stressful situation, a delicate delicate situation for those negotiators who are trying to talk to this gentleman and trying to bring this 10-hour standoff to a resolution, a peaceful resolution, certainly to ease the minds of the officers and the neighbors in this area who say, listen, we suffer from this trauma every day. We see police presence, we hear shootings, we see the violence all the time, certainly not to this level. So again, we are hoping to get more information from police, but that's the very latest here from 46 and Benning. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, you know, we have to be so careful about what we're reporting when there's an active barricade scene occurring, because we don't know what this person is hearing, is seeing, is digesting. And so, Delia, thank you for your very careful and thorough reporting as this evolves. 10 hours now.
Yeah, this is how people started their day. And a lot of people are asking, when will this end? And Dee, you touched on this. The chief is saying, you know, we're going to be out here for as long as it takes to end this peacefully. Again, this is a very delicate situation. So we'll be here until it's all over.
Absolutely.
Delia, thank you.
We're going to continue our team coverage right now with Leslie Moreno. She is live at MedStar Washington Hospital, where 3 officers are recovering.
Yeah, so Leslie, the good news here, we know those officers are going to be okay, but do you have any update on their recovery so far?
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, the last update we received was at around 11 this morning. A representative with the police union came out and gave us that update. They told us the officers are here, they're recovering, and they're in great spirits. So that's good news, great to hear. We do also know DC Mayor Muriel Bowser was here just a couple of hours ago, also at the hospital, checking in on those officers. Tonight, 4 officers treated here at MedStar Washington Hospital Center. They were rushed here at 7:30 this morning. 3 officers were shot, the other injured while assisting the Humane Rescue Alliance with an arrest warrant. The DC Police Union chairman telling WUSA9 the officers are with the Criminal Apprehension Unit. They typically serve warrants on violent felons. He says it's always a gamble. Thankfully, all 4 officers will be making a full recovery.
So we just came out of the hospital. We spoke with all 3 officers. One officer was struck twice. Luckily, his ballistic armor absorbed both of those rounds. The other 2 officers were struck in the lower extremities. Pretty serious injuries, but non-life-threatening, thankfully.
As the barricade situation unfolded in Southeast, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser hosted a Valentine's Day event in Northeast. She took a moment to emphasize the importance of supporting our police officers.
But it goes to show you how important it is to support our police, to make sure we're hiring the best of the best police, to make sure that as a community, that if we see something wrong, that we're calling on MPD, because MPD is going to show up for us every single time.
Pemberton says this is a result of a lack of officers and a lack of consequences for criminals.
The fact is that we're short 500 police officers right now, and this is all due to the City Council's passage of this Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Act, which hamstrings cops. It makes a terrible working environment for police officers.
Also adding, it's the reason crime numbers are where they are.
They've driven hundreds of officers out of this agency, and we don't have the right number of officers to respond to these scenes, which makes it incredibly dangerous for officers and citizens.
And that union rep also telling me these 3 officers are veterans. They're tough. They've been doing this for quite some time now. So again, thankfully, these injuries are non-life threatening. They are expected to be okay. They're expected to recover. They're expected to be able to go home. Guys.
It's the best part of it. We're thinking about them and their families, but the fact that they're able to go home is the most important part of this story.
And we did hear from the chief on this issue in particular a little earlier, and she said that she believes the officers did have the resources they needed to respond to this incident in particular. Leslie, thank you.
So the union's response today comes just days after the D.C. City Council passed a public safety bill that includes dozens of changes to the way that criminals are punished and policing laws in response to this violent crime spike. 12 members voted in favor of the bill, with Councilmember Trayon White of Ward 8 voting present.
All right, so we should also mention that 4 schools were affected by this crime scene all day. You heard Delia mention KIPP DC had an early dismissal about 3 hours ago. Police had to escort students into that school earlier this morning. Plummer and Garfield elementary schools were on secure status all day. Manley Science and Tech Center is still open, but they are encouraging parents to pick up your kids early.
Meantime, the Humane Rescue Alliance was working with MPD to serve that arrest warrant, and they released a statement about the active investigation this morning, and it reads in part, quote, "As this dynamic situation unfolds, our thoughts are with our partners at MPD who are being treated in the hospital, and we are wishing them all the best in their recovery. We could not fulfill our mission without them." Stay with WUSA9 as we learn more about what led up to today's violence in Southeast. We'll have updates on air, online, and streaming on WUSA9+.
And by the way, we are expecting that live update from DC Police at 6 o'clock tonight. We will bring that to you as soon as it happens. In the meantime, again, we're getting back to that breaking news we're following out of Kansas City, Missouri. It's been confirmed that at least one person is dead and many more have been shot at the Chiefs' Super Bowl victory celebration.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a celebratory day, a day where they really commemorated the team's accomplishments, but this day really pivoted and turned into a tragedy. Our Adam Longo joins us live with more on what we're learning about what happened.
And it was all such a happy celebration, Leslie and Zoe, up to that point. Here's the most updated information I have for you at this point. Here's what police are saying. At least one person is dead and another 10 to 15 others were injured after a shooting that happened outside of Union Station in Kansas City. That was at the end of the parade route, and it happened just as the parade had ended. It's right where a big stage had been put up for the event. I can show you some video here of at least one person being carried away on a stretcher. Fans were urged to leave the scene very quickly. Police do say that 2 armed people were detained. That was confirmed in a brief news conference with city officials there in Missouri just about 15 minutes ago. The parade was being broadcast live, so the aftermath unfolded right in front of cameras. Listen here to reporter Neil Jones, who's with the local CBS affiliate station in Kansas City. He's trying to get the attention of the folks in his control room.
Guys, something's going on. Something's going on, guys. Guys, something's going on. Guys.
This is a rapidly evolving situation. You see here, there's a guy on the ground doing CPR, chest compressions on one of the shooting victims. Now, a photojournalist from that CBS station reports that he saw up to 6 people getting treatment on the scene. It is still very much a fluid situation as far as information goes. That 10 to 15 people I just told you about who were injured, we don't know if all of those people were shot, if they were injured in the melee trying to escape, or a mix of both. The police chief said that some 800 law enforcement personnel were working at the event, and it is still very much an active investigation. They expect to brief us more later on tonight with some updated information, guys.
Yeah, the chief was visibly angry and really astounded at how all of these officers were literally there, and this happened in front of them in spite of all of that.
Yeah, and the trauma, and think of all the kids who were in that crowd as well.
Absolutely.
Adam, thank you. All right, so back here at home on a different note tonight, the Commanders are quickly adding more key players to their next chapter. It was less than a month ago that they brought in Adam Peters to help with this big overhaul, and today they added more people to the leadership team.
Yeah, so they filled an important front office role and they hired 2 more coaches. Sports anchor Desmond Purnell is here to explain how the pieces fit together here. Hey, Des.
That's right, guys. It's been a very busy day over at Commanders Park. Today, the team announced the addition of Lance Newmark. He will be the team's new assistant general manager. Newmark has 28 years of NFL experience. Most recently, he held the role of senior director of player personnel for Detroit. In a statement, Commanders general manager Adam Peters said he is highly respected, talent evaluator, and a great leader who will fit perfectly into what we're building here in Washington. The Commanders also made additions to their coaching staff today. The Burgundy and Gold have hired San Francisco assistant head coach Anthony Lynn. He will serve as run game coordinator for the Commanders. Lynn spent the past 2 seasons coaching with the 49ers. Before that, he was the head coach for the LA Chargers. Not only is Lynn well respected in the coaching ranks, but as a player, he was a part of those Denver Bronco teams that won back-to-back Super Bowl championships in 1997 and 1998. No doubt he will have the respect of that Commanders locker room. And the Commanders did not stop there, guys. Today, the team added another 49ers assistant coach, Darryl Tapp. He was an assistant D-line coach for San Francisco this past season. He will now be the defensive line coach for the Commanders this upcoming season. Leslie and Lorenzo, from a resume standpoint, from an experience standpoint, this Commanders coaching staff is looking like one of the best in the league, but only time will tell if they can help turn this team into an actual contender.
Yeah, I can't wait till they start playing.
I was going to say, if you begin with the end in mind and you look at what you got in place so far, It's looking pretty promising.
There it is.
All right. Well, whether it is confirmation on critical hires or one-on-one interview with Josh Harris, we are your home for exclusive coverage of the Commanders.
And if you haven't watched that interview, you can find it on our website right now, WUSA9.com, or streaming on WUSA9 Plus. All right, still ahead here tonight, new questions about how Maryland supervises people on parole and probation after this 2-year-old was shot and killed in Langley Park. Hey, Tom.
Okay, this just in, updated about 10 minutes ago. Notice the snow. This is 10 o'clock on Friday night. The blue is snow already in parts of the metro. We'll come back. We'll show you our updated snowfall map and take you through the storm hour by hour.
WUSA9 Weather Watch is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
The WUSA9 Weather Watch team is tracking a clipper for the start of your weekend.
Yeah, we've got team coverage tonight. The chief topper shut and meteorologist Caitlin McGrath are here with how much snow we could see.
We're going to start with that, and then Caitlin's going to explain what a clipper is. So first things first, as of 5 o'clock, this is what we're thinking. Caitlin and I put this together, and I tell you what, it's a broad brush, but it's 1 to 2 inches. Could some areas see a little over 2 inches? Yes. Could some areas see a little less than an inch? Yes. But right now it is a 1 to 2 inch storm, and part of that is because of the nature of a clipper. So here's what we know. We know the clippers have limited moisture. They're fast moving. Light snow is likely, 1 to 2 inches, but check back with this often because the track is going to change. And because clippers are small, if a track changes 50 miles, that can make a big impact on how much snow falls in the DMV. So we're going to widen this out. This is our one scenario, a GFS, Global Forecasting System, and this just updated about 2 hours ago. See the snow by 11 o'clock, and the clipper's going to kind of move out of the Tennessee Valley just to the south of us. Pretty good area of snow overnight, but it does exit very, very quickly. Then we're kind of left with a blustery day. So for more on what a clipper is, here's meteorologist. Caitlin
McGrath.
Well, but say chef. Caitlin McGrath. Chef.
She's your better. We'll just keep it.
Of course,
with
she's my better half.
All right, let's start with why it's called an Alberta clipper. We get Alberta because these storms originate in Alberta, Canada. Clipper comes from the historically fast-moving ships, and for good reason. These little areas of low pressure do ride the jet stream very quickly, and that's exactly what we're going to be tracking as we head through Friday night into Saturday. They're quick-moving, but typically lack moisture, and it's worth noting that we think the actual area of low pressure is going to be off to our south. This is just kind of the generic track of an Alberta Clipper, but with that area of low pressure hanging south of D.C., that is enough to bring us that widespread light snow. Now, as these storms move out of here, they pull in a strong northwesterly wind, so it is going to turn blustery and cold behind that little bit of light snow we're going to wake up to Saturday morning. For more on the timing and what to expect in the meantime, we'll send things back over to, what's his name?
What's his name? Yeah.
Tom Burchett.
You know, Caitlin, we were talking, I mean, in terms of a snowstorm, quote unquote, this is the best case scenario, mainly overnight Friday, right? So that's kind of good. But that said, if you have plans Friday night, you probably should be advised the snow's going to move in. So this is, you know, noon, 1 o'clock on Friday is fine. Friday is fine. Clouds come in by 10 o'clock. There's a little bit of snow. So if you have plans to be out Friday night, or if you have young drivers that don't really drive in the snow, I'd get them home early because the snow is already in D.C. and certainly back to Leesburg and Culpeper. And notice little darker areas of blue. That is going to be the heaviest band of snow. Right now, it's kind of setting up D.C. into Prince George's County, northern sections of Charles County, and that's just after midnight. Also notice the temperatures now are falling. We get some evaporative cooling, and temps are now around freezing. So the roads will become slick pretty quickly. So if you're out late Friday night into Saturday morning, yeah, there's going to be some slick roads. By 4 a.m., we still have snow. Notice that darker bands now are south and east of town, with less up toward Hagerstown. So it's not going to be a case where more is going to automatically fall north and west of town. By 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, it is gone. Winds turn more north-northwest, as Caitlin mentioned, and we're ended up with a blustery Saturday, and really, quite frankly, a blustery weekend. So 50 tomorrow, maybe a spotty shower, then light snow at night on Friday, 47. Your eyes are not deceiving you. We've taken the weather watch alert and kind of scooted it between the 2 days, Friday night into Saturday morning, and then 43 for a high. So it's kind of cold on Saturday. Dress for the 30s on Saturday. Sunday, mid-40s, and then near 50 on Monday. Very nice Tuesday, low 50s if you like that sort of thing. And then mid-50s on Wednesday, maybe a stray shower.
Okay, thank you, Top. Still ahead here tonight, thousands of rideshare drivers, they're on strike.
Why they decided to hit the picket line.
Okay. Let me go back to a different ground. Yeah, okay. Not too bad. Zoom out of here. Okay. When did this break? Oh, I thought three was the problem. Right, okay. Okay. I can live with that. Yeah. I can live with that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It was a little
This next story may impact your Valentine's Day plan. Today, thousands of drivers for rideshare apps Uber and Lyft are on strike.
Yeah, so drivers for both of these companies are taking a big chunk. They say these companies are taking a big chunk of their fares as the cost of living goes up. They also say they're being forced to work long hours to make ends meet. The group of protesters held rallies in at least 17 cities.
The fares that they're charging riders, it's not reciprocating to the drivers. And, you know, we're the ones out here footing the bill for the fuel that's going up again. It's for all the maintenance on our vehicles.
Well, the spokesperson for Lyft responded to the strike in a statement. It reads in part, drivers earn $30 an hour and keep $23 on top of tips and bonuses. Uber says its drivers make around $33 an hour. The strike will end tomorrow.
Just ahead, lawmakers on Capitol Hill square off on two big issues: the impeachment vote against the Secretary of Homeland Security and funding for Ukraine and Israel.
Plus, how friends and family are remembering a local basketball star shot and killed in Temple Hills. All right, we want to get back to that breaking news we have been following in Southeast D.C. today. 3 D.C. police officers are recovering in the hospital after being shot. So at the time, they were trying to serve an arrest warrant when it happened at around 7:30 this morning.
And for the last 10 hours, the suspected shooter has been barricaded inside a home. Now, this all happened on Hannah Place near Benning Road in Southeast D.C. And right now, much of that area is still blocked off all these hours later.
Yeah, let's get another update now from our Delia Gonzalez.
Yeah, she's been on top of this story since it first broke. Dee, what else are you learning since we last saw you at 5?
You know, we know that police are trying to gather some more information and perhaps update the media, but right now it is the same situation here on the 4700 block of Benning Road. We are right next to KIPP DC, a K-8 public charter school. We're about 4 blocks away from Hannah Place, and we're talking about 4 long blocks. Benning Road here in Southeast is a very long corridor, and it's eerily quiet outside of the hum of the flashing lights and the cars that you see here, the police presence and the yellow tape. There's no one else on the street, and that is very unusual for Benning Road at this time. It was much the same earlier today, outside of a few onlookers who were curious as to what was happening in their community. But listen to this. We actually had a gentleman call our station who witnessed all of this happen. It was a chaotic scene, and residents are now home, and the parents who picked up their children are now home, thankful that they are safe. But again, a long day here, 10-hour standoff, and police say they will be here until it comes to a resolution peacefully. 7:30 on Valentine's morning, and neighbors awoke to pure chaos in the 5000 block of Hannah Place Southeast. DC police say officers were assisting the Animal Rescue Alliance in serving a warrant for an animal cruelty case when the man inside the home started firing a gun. Levon Davis Sr., who spoke to us by phone, lives nearby. He had to jump out his window to get away so he could go to work. 3 officers were shot, a 4th hurt in the process. The barricade situation unfolds as crews rush to the scene. More than 30 police cruisers, ambulances, fire trucks, tactical units, armored vehicles, the ATF, and officers in full SWAT gear assemble. Police set up a wide perimeter, keeping folks away.
I see a lot of police action every day. It's nothing under the nose.
That's not good.
Not good at all. And not the bigger turnout, like I said. We don't get this bigger turnout for when it's something happening to, like, the pedestrians out here. It's more like when it happened to the police officers, we get this type of turnout. You don't get this type of turnout when it happened to the pedestrians out here. Sad to say.
We have not made visual contact with him since this morning when the incident occurred with regards to trying to execute the the arrest warrant, forgive me. With regards to his up and down behavior, it appears as though during conversation he seems to communicate very effectively with us, but then there are times he appears to be very agitated.
Several schools nearby go into lockdown, including KIPP DC, a K-8 public charter school, just 4 blocks from the scene, as police escort children through the crime scene tape safely into the building. And at one point, our cameras capturing a Valentine's pizza being delivered to the school. An hour later, a young lady being taken out on a stretcher. School was dismissed early at 2 p.m.
We know they were safe inside, but we didn't know what was going to happen outside the school, because it was too close. This is too close for comfort.
I wasn't worried about anyone inside there. It's just worrying about after school, how I was going to get to him. I'm just glad that I didn't go to work today, so I'm able to get him